Hello everybody, welcome back to Jolie Knots. I'm Crystal and I have just finished both of these accordion folders. Now we have two different kinds here. One is a thin one and one is a thick one. One's got 6 envelopes and one's got 36 envelopes. So you can see we've put it into a folder. So we've got a flap and then all of your envelopes. These are just made with junk mail envelopes. You're gonna wanna find the junk mail envelopes that are closest in size to each other and use them accordingly. It doesn't really matter what they look like because the front and the back are gonna be glued together. So you're not really gonna see much of the envelope itself other than the inside, which should be just fine. And then this is a thin one. This is a 7 envelope, and that is all glued to the back of the cover. Okay, now this one here, this one I made for my Lenormand. So some of the ways that I journal my Lenormand pools are that of like a collage. And so out of the things that I just have things like piled together, like literally piles of paper that I have to go through, and then stickers that I have separately. So I wanted to create an envelope where I can put everything together and it'll be easier to get to. So this is what I've created. And I've got all 36 spaces for, if I get this finished before I edit it, I'll sneak in a photo of what it looks like full and how you can use it. But it's a very, very cool accordion. And hopefully you guys like this. All you're gonna need is, you can use brand new envelopes. All of these are recycled envelopes from my mail and my junk mail. I used 3.5 sheets, like 4 sheets of scrapbook paper for the cover of the large one, and then just a single sheet of scrapbook paper for the cover of this one, and then some scrap for the tabs here. And then I also used washi tape. So I used washi tape to enforce the bends and also to enforce here and the outside of the envelopes to reinforce these as well. Plus it looks a lot nicer when you look into the side of it. On this one here I used book corners, so that's optional to use. I used with book corners and without book corners. So decide what you would like to do. Grab your envelopes, and I am going to show you how to get those all prepped up and how we create this project. Okay, so the first thing that we're going to do is get all of our envelopes. And all we're going to do with our envelopes is take some tape, washi tape. You can use paper and glue it if you want, any kind of tape that you want. We are going to strengthen the edges of our envelopes. It's going to take our tape and fold it over on each side. Put it on the one side and then the other. And now when I flip it over, I'm going to make sure that each of these little flaps are reinforced on both sides. And then fold our tape over. Take our little scissors and just nip it right off. Okay, so we're going to do that to each one of our envelopes. Okay, so once you have your envelopes all done and completed, you are going to take more glue. And what we're gonna do now is we're just gonna simply glue them all together. So we're gonna place glue all over the front of the envelope, but like an inch in on each side. Top doesn't really matter, but an inch in on the sides and an inch in on the bottom. So this is how I'm gonna do it. And then I'm gonna take my next envelope, and all I'm going to do is just stack it right up and center it. And then I'm gonna do the same thing with the next one. Okay, so now we are finished gluing everything together, and it is time to make the tabs for envelopes. So these top tabs. And how we're gonna do that is we are going to be making them in 1.5 inch squares. So as 1.5 inch squares like this, we're gonna be able to fold it in half. And optionally, you can use a corner punch if you like to punch the top over the top tab and kind of round it out. So just right up on the top, I'm going to use the smallest corner. And then there we have it. Now I'm going to need to make 36 of these because I have 36 envelopes from my Lenormand. And I'm gonna go ahead and fold all those over, and then I will meet you back. What you can do also, if you like, is distress the edges of those, which I will do also off camera. And then I'll meet you back to show you how to put them all on, or the easiest way, at least that I found, to put them all on at the same time. So if you want to distress your edges, go ahead and do that. Okay, I have got all the tabs made, and I ended up actually writing on them beforehand. I just thought it would be a little bit easier than trying to write on them in this big, huge stack. So what I'm going to do now is I am just gonna move from the first tab. I'm going to go ahead and stick that just like this, right inside of where it expands. And then I'm gonna raise it up a little bit, like halfway, so you can see what's written there, okay? And how we're gonna put that on is I'm gonna go ahead and open it all the way up, grab my glue, and then I'm just gonna put glue over the whole entire thing. Go back to our first position, and then get that into place. And the first one's done. And now I'm gonna move on to the second one. I'm gonna glue it all up. Bring myself up, move on to the next one. And now when I put this in and I put it into place, what I'm going to do is measure it with the one next to it before I squeeze it all the way down. So that way I can make sure that everything is lined up and nice and pretty. See, just like that. Maybe a little bit out more. This glue dries fast, so I gotta work quickly once I set it. And then I'm just gonna move along, go to number 3, Now, like I said, this is optional. You don't have to do this if you're doing just like a small expandable folder and you only got a few pockets. Maybe you don't want to put a tab on it, but maybe you do. And if you do, this is how I'm gonna do it, or at least this is an example of how you can do it. So you can go ahead and put yours on the way that you want. And then I'm gonna finish this out and we're gonna work on the outside folder for it, or the cover. We're gonna work on the cover. Okay, so this one's gonna smooth over here, or it's gonna line up to go pretty close out to the edge where the actual expandable part is, if you can see that. So I don't want that to pull apart. I'm gonna go ahead and just glue that down a little bit more on the inside so it doesn't pull apart. And that's only gonna be on the last one of each row. So maybe in this next one, I can start it up a little bit farther so it doesn't go down so far. I'll start it on the next, I should have started a little bit closer to this line, but that's okay. This will be fine. So I'm gonna go ahead and finish out all my tabs and then I will meet you guys back to do the cover. Okay, I have all my tabs done all the way through my envelopes or my accordion folder. And now I'm just gonna create like a faceplate for the front of the envelope. So like this. Okay, and that's gonna be super easy. I'm just gonna trim a little bit off of the bottom and this side. So I can just stress that edge. You can sew it also if you want to like put design in it. I did not sew the inside. I did sew along the outside, but I think I'm going to make this one more substantial than that one. That one is just a regular scrapbook paper as the cover. So it's not like super substantial, but it's also only 7 envelopes. So it's not very substantial on its own. So this one, because there's gonna have a lot of envelopes, I'm gonna make it a lot more substantial. So we're just gonna finish up coloring the edges. You can turn it into another little pocket if you want, but this is just gonna be our little base. And there we have our front base. Okay, now for the cover. For the cover, I am going to use, I'm gonna start out with the base, and it's going to be this sheet of 12 by 12. But I'm going to need 2 of them because it's really wide. I want my my front flap to fold over a lot more than this one does. So I'm gonna put an addition on this flap somehow. I just want it to overhang about a 1/4 inch or so. Yeah, about a 1/4 inch. A little bit less maybe. The size that I want this, I'm just eyeballing it because obviously everybody's envelopes are going to be a little bit different. So what we're looking at here is we want the front cover to come all the way up, of course, right? And then we want it to be able to fold over and go to the back. So let's use a pencil here. So my front's gonna go like about there, and the back is gonna be about there. So I want my scores to start about here and go out. See how we have it scored like this? So that the paper bends a little bit easier and goes around how it expands. And then the same thing on this side. So we want it to have like enough to cover it and then enough to cover it to expand. So you're gonna bring your scoreboard back out. So this is a really wide stack, of course. This stack itself is like just a little under an inch, but once I start filling it up, it's gonna be rather fat. And then now I wanna do the same thing on this side. Okay, so now I have scores on both sides. I am going to reinforce just the fold with some more washi tape. Okay, I'm gonna use this one. This really nice, wide, large one. But I'm also gonna add some glue here to make sure that it's really strong. So you can still see like the grooves on this side. Then it's a lot stronger than just the scrapbook paper by itself. So I'm gonna do that on both sides. So now that we have both bindings reinforced, this will go here, but we're not gonna do that yet. We're gonna finish up with the folder and then adding an outside lip to the top so that it closes a little bit more like this, especially for when it gets, you know, bigger. I am going to cut 3-inch strips of this. I'm gonna cut a 3-inch strip to strengthen this here on the bottom of the envelope, and I'm gonna cut a 3-inch strip for the top. Actually, I'm gonna cut a 6-inch strip for the top and then just fold it over onto each other. Yeah, that's what I'm gonna do. Okay, so we're gonna glue this down here. We're gonna glue it pretty close to the edge so that way nothing lifts up. For the top on this bend over here, where's the last, this is what we're gonna do. We're gonna fold it on just like this and then glue it, and it's gonna be like our top flap. Okay, so we're gonna glue this entire thing. We want it to be strong, we want it to be stuck down and sturdy, so we're gonna glue the entire thing. And then we're gonna go back and make sure there's glue all the way at the edges. So we'll wait just a little bit for this to dry, the glue to dry, before I run it through the sewing machine to give it like a nice edge look. You can do that optionally if you want to, you don't have to, but that's what I'm gonna do. Here's what it looks like so far. And once we have this pretty guy in there, she'll fold over and fold down, just like that. We'll trim this here, and then that's what'll happen. Okay, so my next step is going to be to trim this down once this dries. Okay, so my sewing machine didn't want to cooperate with me very well, so we're going to improvise. I'm going to do this for the outside flap border, and I'm going to put that one on each side. And then I'll flip it over and do the same thing on the other side. So we've got our cute little paper ribbon ruffle. I do have a tutorial for this. I will link it in the description box. Okay, and then for this side, since I had already like you know what I mean, it tried to munch it up. So we're gonna put this little washi tape that's like a glittery lace on the one side. And they're all gonna be a little bit mismatched, but that's okay because it's gonna be cute. I don't mind. It's just for me. And now, so we got one side is a little bit of a lace, and then this is like a little paper ruffle. And then here we have some sewing. And then I think, which shall be right here. Let's trim this. I think here I'm gonna put an actual lace. Just a little baby piece like that. This is gonna dry clear, so it should be just fine once it dries to be able to see through it. Okay, and now I'm just gonna trim that off. Okay, and we're gonna wait for that to dry. And then we will ink up the edges. So do I wanna put something on this side? Okay, so for this side, to cover up where the sewing machine ate my paper, I'm gonna put this ribbon, but I'm gonna put it with the polka dot side down. So we're just gonna glue it down like that. And I'm basically just making all the borders stronger, essentially. Reinforcing it, making sure that it's nice and sturdy. So I'm gonna start here, go all the way down here. So you can decorate this as much as or as little as you want. You can make it more collage. You can do it just with like bits of scrapbook paper. You can do it like with collage paper. I mean, everything I'm putting in here is going to be to make collages. That's what all my pockets are for, to do stuff like that. So use it however you want, put whatever you want in it, and it will just be perfect for everything. Okay, now, yes, everything is done there. Okay, now we get to put the inner guts inside of the envelope, or the envelope insides, however you want to call it. Our big accordion, that's the back or the bottom, and that's the top, okay? We are going to glue it smack dab just like this. And we're gonna make sure that it lines up with, remember where we had our bottom fold? That's where we're gluing it down. That's why we don't need to reinforce this. Let's make that. That's why we don't need to reinforce the back part of this right here, because this is gonna glue right back down onto it. So it's like reinforcing it itself. Okay, so that's where it's gonna begin here. And that's where we're gonna line it up. So we're gonna glue it down just like that. And then this will go over and it'll be just, oops, wrong way, like that. And then both of these, ooh, that is almost gonna be upside down, ha, ha, ha. Fold it there, and then here, like that, and like that. Okay, yes. So don't make that mistake that I almost made right now by gluing it in upside down. So I'm gonna glue this entire thing because I want it to be strong. I know some people say it's a waste of glue, but if it holds your glue or holds your pages together stronger than if it was just two sitting next to each other, you're like creating one page. So it really does make a difference. And we did it. Look, we did it. We did it. We did it. And then we have all of the the creasing, the scoring done here. So it is going to slowly, eventually be able to like expand with it. And now all we need to do is work on the closure. So I think I'm gonna do it a little bit different than this one, but very similar. I'm gonna use the elastic. I'm gonna put the elastic on the flap here. Actually, maybe I'll do a lace. What do you think about that? Or a ribbon? What if I do like a ribbon and then it can just wrap around and go, yeah? This color? Maybe a black lace. Let me find a black lace. Okay, I don't think that the black lace is gonna look good with it after all. I mean, I think it will. I don't know. Should I do the lace or the jute? Decisions. Let's do the lace. I'm gonna do the lace. The lace will be fun, even if it doesn't match well. That's gonna be okay. Or, let's see if I have another lace. No, I think this is gonna be it. Okay. So let's measure it. We're gonna go like this, and then like this, and then it's gonna wrap around like, what do I have? Something I'll make. Something like this, or a button. What I did on this one was a paper like this. And I just used a little hole punch. And then I'm also gonna punch the same hole into one of these scrap paper pages. Oh, look how cute. Okay, so I'm gonna glue these together. And that is gonna make it stronger, of course. And I'm gonna make two of those, one for this inside and one for the outside. So now we have these guys, and we are going to make a hole in it right where we want it. So let's measure, where's the middle? Almost 10 inches, so about like right here. Okay, there we go. So now okay, so one's gonna come this side, one's gonna go through here, and then this is gonna come on this side, and it's gonna open up. But we need to attach this guy onto here. So how we're gonna do that, so we're gonna glue it all the way down so it doesn't break and it doesn't move. Then we will go right back through the hole once it's dry. Because it's got to be dry, because when this goes on it, it can't be glued down, otherwise the other one, like the other end of this, is not going to be able to wrap around. So let's see, what can I press it with? When this starts pulling, I want this to be in here really strong, and I don't want it to fray or rip. That's why there's so much glue on it. And I'm just trying to tap it around and make sure that it's all over. So while it's not all the way clear, it does feel dry to the touch. I think it should be okay. If not, then I guess I will just fix it, huh? So we are going to take our brad and we're gonna stick through the hole. And then see, we're out on the other side. And then we're gonna go through this hole, and then we're gonna open it up. Now before I do that, I am actually going to glue this down, because I want it to be really sturdy. I don't want it to go anywhere. And then we open it up. There we go. And so now when we want to close it, we'll just pull it around. This will close, yes, and then wrap around. How cute is that? Let's try. Oh, there we go. So like that. There we go. Okay. And here's what it looks like. Can hold it open all the way. Accordion all the way to what it is you're looking for. All the way to the back. Everything's nice and strong and glued together. These are really thick with them being glued together and all that overlapping of the extra pieces. You can distress the edges here if you want. I don't think I'm gonna do that. How fun, huh? And there we go. There you have it. Thank you everybody for watching Jolie Knots. I appreciate your time. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Don't forget to share with your friends or anybody else you find crafty that would be interested in making their own little accordion folder.